I am, you are, we are Guardian Life. I am, you are, we are Guardian Life.
Tennille, it is such a pleasure to have you here with us. And we want to start with your journey, how long you've been with Guardian Life, and share with us your path to where you are right now.
All right, so I started in Guardian Life about 7 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I actually stumbled into Guardian Life, literally.
Right.
I had no intentions of being in this career. However, it was a divine accident, I would say, because at the time I was in a place in a career transition and I was looking for an entrepreneurial opportunity, which I didn't think Guardian was that, of course.
Okay.
But in doing some research about what life insurance agents do, I stumbled into this training session and my eyes were opened.
Wow.
I recognized that I was so ignorant of basic things. And I say basic because what we do at Guardian Life is fundamental to life.
Okay.
And I felt like, you know what, if I was at that age and I did not have this basic knowledge, you know, you go to school, you learn things.
Correct.
And it's like, how is it that I'm so ignorant about something so basic? I said, no, I need to be part of the solution. So
Okay.
that's when I decided to join Guardian Life. And
That's
I'm so glad that I did. And in that 7 years, I've learned so much. I've met so many people, and I've recognized that I am able now to define the contribution that I want to make. And one of those areas actually is in the area of retirement.
Okay.
Because I recognize that everything that we do leads to that point
Yes.
where we retire. And the good thing with Guardian Life is that everything that Guardian offers is actually part of a retirement plan.
Okay.
Believe it or not.
And as you mentioned, it's inevitable. Retirement is inevitable, whether we want it or not.
Well, it's a gift to retire, right? Because not
True.
everybody will retire.
Yeah.
But the reality is you're planning for hopefully old age. And if you're doing that, you want to ensure that you're prepared properly.
Okay.
And so I developed a system called the Retire Smart system that allows people to structure their retirement planning process.
Okay.
Because unlike, let's say, yes, you may get, maybe you have a mutual fund, for example, or you may have an annuity, which is important.
Yeah.
But the reality is you want to structure it and understand how it actually serves your vision for retirement.
Oh, wow. That is inspirational. Thank you so much for sharing that
Yes,
with us.
thank you.
Now, with all the economic uncertainty, we're talking about rising prices, inflation, even currency shifts. How has that changed the way people need to plan for retirement?
Well, yes, we're seeing right now, I mean, if you look at the news, you're seeing
Yeah.
what's happening, right?
Correct.
10 years ago, the money that you saved will not necessarily buy you the lifestyle that you have right now.
For sure.
So when you think about even now with our current scenarios, whether it's the tariff wars or the rise in prices, inflation,
Yes.
think about that 20, 30 years from now. We cannot predict the dynamics economically.
Yeah.
But what we can do is look at where we can pivot and adjust based on our current scenarios. And so even though, yes, there may be changes,
Yeah.
we should anticipate the changes. We are living in the changes.
Yeah.
And therefore, we should always be there motivated. Because if it is that you're not recognizing that, hey, I'm 30, I'm 40,
Yeah.
and look at what's happening today. If I am 60 and 65 and I'm more vulnerable,
Oh, wow.
what will be my situation? That is nothing but a clarion call to act.
Yeah.
And that is what this scenario of looking at all of your changes, whether it's inflation, rising prices, protectionist policies and how that impacts your day-to-day, you want to literally think about what you can do today.
So, Tennille, let's paint a picture. Now, what are some of the retirement realities that you're seeing today that people may not be prepared for? I mean, you added like the tariffs, for example, the tariff wars and so on. What else in addition to that can you share with us in your vision?
Well, the realities of retirement, it's very relatable. So, for example, someone may be, and I actually dealt with a client recently, they decided that they wanted to retire at 60.
All right.
They probably decided that 10 years ago. But when
Okay.
they became that age, they realized that they could not retire at 60 because they had some health challenges, aging parents, etc. And that reality forced them back into work.
Yes.
So the realities of retirement planning is that you cannot always predict the dynamics of what will happen when you retire, but you can prepare to a point where you can hopefully control some of those dynamics.
You mentioned that pensions have changed. So based on your knowledge and your history with Guardian Life, when it comes to the changes that occurred with pension, based on the previous knowledge you would have had to now, would you say it has changed a lot?
It has changed significantly. And it's not just in Trinidad and Tobago. This is globally.
Okay.
So in the 1960s, 70s, 80s, maybe early 90s, particularly those who worked in the private sector, you worked in a company, you were guaranteed a pension.
Right.
Right? So growing old was lovely because you knew you would get a pension and it was defined.
Okay.
So if you, just like government workers, typically what they would have, a private sector worker could say, you know what, I know I'll retire with X amount of dollars by the time I'm ready. That is what they had what they call a defined pension plan.
Okay.
However, in the 90s, that changed. Right? And that was due to economic changes, right? And it was very risky for these companies to have that type of plan. So what they did was they transferred the risk to the employee.
Right.
And they then introduced what we call defined contribution plans, and what we know as the annuities, for example. Now, this is very important, Tamara. Very, very important.
Tell us.
Because when you have an annuity, and it's a very important product because it's a guaranteed income that you're building, you still must know whether you are contributing enough. You must know your numbers because you are in the driver's seat. Unlike, let's say, what happened in the past where your employer determined or assisted you in determining your income, you now have to determine your income using these tools.
So with reference to the annuity, as you mentioned that, and knowing your income and so on, I want to ask, what's the real value of an annuity in today's world, based on all the challenges you've highlighted?
An annuity is your retirement safety net.
Okay.
So just as we explained, you have your NIS, you have your government or your work pension that could come through. The reality is those sources may not be sufficient.
Okay.
And so when you do a proper assessment, like what I do in my Retire Smart system, and you recognize this is my vision for retirement, this is what I need, this is my gap.
Okay.
And you then say, okay, well, I have this source, that source, that source, but it's not quite matching up. Your annuity is your control safety net to ensure that you can retire properly. And so that is, and then it's guaranteed income. So it is one of the key elements in anybody's retirement plan. So anybody that says, I will wait until I'm 65, oh my God.
But there are some persons who will say, I have rent, property, business, all these different things to pay. I don't have any extra for that. What would you say to them?
Well, are you referring to those who may have those as additional income sources?
That's right. And when they want to, because you're saying in terms of the annuity, you have this allocated, that allocated, and you still have the middle here. But if I have nothing to put in the middle here in terms of the annuity aspect of it, and I'm telling you that I have all these expenditures, what do you say to them?
Well, I think that is a very valid concern that persons have when it comes to their expenses.
Yeah.
The reality is, however, that your expenses in the context of prioritization is a factor that must be considered.
Okay.
Right? And if you think about what you are foregoing by not putting something aside, it is actually a huge risk. But the other thing is that there may be opportunities, for example, bonuses that you get, tax refunds that you may have, that you can put into your annuity.
Girl, all those things, people want to buy shoes, they want to buy extra stuff.
Right, and that is fine. And that is fine. As was said, earlier, if you want to essentially do everything now
Yes.
and not put something aside for later,
Correct.
you will pay the price of that.
Yes, you
And
will.
yes, I know we have a culture of instant gratification. People want what they want when they want it. But think about your vulnerable older self. And I don't think we need to look very far. You have grandparents, you may have people in your community, for
Yes,
example, who you
yeah.
see every day. And you
Correct.
see sometimes that they are living way below their standard, or the standard that would be nice and comfortable.
Yes.
And you don't want to be in that situation. And so, and you don't want to be a burden to your family.
Correct.
So in that sense, you want to look at a plan that would allow you to think about your future self.
Okay, well, speaking of plan, for those who haven't started yet or they feel left behind, how do they start?
Well, the first thing you want to do is you want to ask yourself a few questions, right? So what is the lifestyle I want when I retire? And how do I build that, right?
Yeah.
What are the income sources that I currently have, and what are the income sources I want to create? So I think you mentioned earlier, you talked about business and real estate. So some people look at business income and real estate income as one or part of their retirement plan.
Yeah.
What I would say, especially to the entrepreneurs, this is really important. You may have these elements of income, and that's great. It's important. However, those incomes are also at risk. They're not always steady.
Yeah, correct.
So the economy could dip, and so your business could go out of function or operation.
Yeah.
And then your tenants may leave at different points, and your income could also be impacted, whereas an annuity is guaranteed. So if you have these income streams now and they're doing really well, you want to consider a portion of, putting a portion of that into a stream of income for your retirement that is going to be so consistent, so steady, that you will not regret it.
Oh, wow.
At all.
I can feel your passion and your commitment as well, Tanil. I want to thank you so much for imparting your knowledge with us. We truly appreciate it. But with our listeners, please share with our listeners, if they are seeking your support, how can they reach you?
Well, they can reach me at my website, yourgoalsyourplans.com. It has all of my information, all of the resources. There are lots of free resources that you can access there. And of course, you can call me at 467-9944. I would be so happy to support you and to ensure that you retire smart, not by accident, but by design. A key reality of retirement is longevity. You may live longer than you expect. My grandmother will be turning 100 in a few months, and I'm sure when she retired at 60, she never thought that she would be living 40 years later. And that's a reality that many of us may face as well. So when we're thinking about retirement planning, we must think about this key fact. Would your money last as long as you? And if not, what are you going to do today to ensure that you can retire smart? Not by accident, but by design. My name is Tanil, and I am here to assist persons who are interested in making serious moves towards ensuring that their retirement plan is income-proofed and ensures that they have the lifestyle that they want all the way into maybe 100.
Well said, Tanil. And to our listeners, the best financial decisions are the ones you make on purpose. So take that first step today, no matter how small. Whether it's reviewing your budget, reaching out to an advisor, or just setting a goal, it all counts. Progress doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to start. So keep learning, keep planning, and take control of your financial future, one smart choice at a time. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to follow, subscribe, and share this episode with someone who needs to hear this. Until next time, stay with us, and we look forward to many, many more with you. I'm Tamara Williams.
I'm Tanil Alonzo. We're Guardian Life.